Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. As always, thank you for joining me. If you could, hit the subscribe button down below and let's get right to it. Now, the other day, some students across America walked out of classes in support of the March for Our Lives campaign that's been going on. It's going to ultimately culminate in what they're calling a March on Washington. Students from across the country, and including Washington, D.C., took off a class. They just walked out. Lots of people are mad about this, and I really don't understand what they're so mad about. So let me read something I wrote right quick, just to give you my take on this. I wrote it down and posted it to social media the other day, and I thought maybe I would repeat it here. So here goes. Some are mad at the kids that joined the walkout over school gun violence. To them, I say this. Sometimes there are things in life that are more important than a day of school. Kids across this nation are petrified to go to school. They feel their safety has been ignored by the adults in the room. So you're damn right, thousands of kids walked out in protest, and good for them. Agree with them or not, these young people are showing a lot of courage to stand up to the establishment and demand change. That takes some testicular fortitude, to borrow a line from WWE's Vince McMahon. So I fully support these young people and their fight for change. If you don't, that's whatever. But please stop with the smear campaign against them. And then I'll go on to tell people on my social media that if you continue with the smear campaign, you will be deleted. And that's just how I feel about it. I feel that these kids, they're showing a lot of balls to stand up to the establishment, to stand up to the adults who were saying we're going to put this on your permanent record, yada yada. I had somebody on my social media mention that they didn't even think these kids probably knew what they were doing while they were walking out. Now maybe there were some that didn't, but I bet most of them did. Because you got kids across this country that are scared to go to school. It's been going on for too long. The adults have done nothing about it, so the kids are demanding change. These kids are the future. Think what you will, but these kids are the future. These kids are going to demand change until it happens. Like it or not, we need safer schools. Like it or not, gun violence is causing a major problem in our schools. And I'm not just talking mass shootings. The mass shootings are terrible because there's huge numbers and stuff. It's terrible. That shit's terrible. But also you have other shootings that happen across American schools where it's not considered a mass shooting, so it doesn't make the news. Where it's just one or two people shot. It doesn't make the news as much. If it's in a big town like a Detroit or a Chicago or a Houston or something, you don't hear about it that much if it's just one person gets shot at. But they happen. It happens all the time. And it needs to stop. I don't care if it's one child dead or one teacher dead or if it's 17 to 58 people dead. I don't care. These mass shootings and the gun violence in general has got to stop. We've got to make changes in this country to safeten our nation and to protect the most vulnerable, our kids, against these attacks. Now, I don't know what the full solution is, but here's what I propose for this exact moment in time. First and foremost, we have to secure our schools. End of story. We must secure our schools right now. What's the best way to go about doing this? Well, I suggest hiring veterans that are out of job, jobless veterans from across the country. As long as they've been screened for, any kind of, mental illness issues or whatever, to protect and guard the schools across America. I believe Congress should fund this action immediately. They should find out how much it's going to run. to guard as many schools as possible with retired vets. That's what I believe we should do right now, to protect our kids and our schools. Secondly, there should be more safety measures at schools. Okay? If you don't want to hire the veterans, there should still be other safety measures. There should be a protection, a barrier where a gunman can't get in with bulletproof, glass around them, to where you have to be buzzed in and buzzed out, period. But right there where the office can see you, we need to find ways to retrofit our schools to where there's these little, I guess you could call them safe rooms in a way, to where when a gunman walks in, he can't just get in. I may be a liberal, but I have no issues with these two things. Armed guards at every school, whatever weapon they need to do that with. Unfortunately, if they're bringing ARs and AKs into schools, then it's possible that the vets should probably do that. Should have the same. Say the same thing for the police. If these people are bringing out assault rifles, the cops need them too. It's unfortunate, but it's how it works. And lastly, I've seen some stuff over the last few years over a school. I believe it was in Indiana. I am not 100% sure. It could have been in Iowa. It was one of the I states, I believe. Anyhow, it's a whole school full of countermeasures to where they can shut down different parts of the school, where they can they release what they call hot zones, where they drop like CO2 or some kind of gas or something to disorient the guy. They change all the lighting. They make sure all the doors automatically lock where he can't get into them. They're bullet resistant. This should be technology. At least some of the technology should be spread across the country. At least the bulletproof doors or bullet resistant doors, and they should be in a situation where they're not easily knocked off their hinges. In the same school, they draw a line. They have a red line in the middle of the room that puts it to where if there are kids in that room, they can get on the other side of that line, and they're not in the line of sight, and they can't be seen through the window in the door. But safety measures like this are needed. We must make changes, and we must make changes now. People say, well, Jake, we can't afford that. People, we just gave billionaires $1.4 trillion. I think we can afford it. And lastly, we have to make changes. Our kids are not safe. I couldn't imagine being a parent this day and age. But the youth is our future. They're the future leaders of this country. And they need to be protected as such. It's pathetic that we've gone this long and not done something about it. And it pisses me off. It makes me sick to my stomach. I thought for sure when I sat there watching Columbine unfold on the news, I believe it was my senior year in high school, that I thought that would never happen again. I didn't think we would ever see something like that again. I thought for sure we would do something to stop that. But we didn't. We've had a number of them. Too many to count. Too many lost lives. And I understand we can't stop every act of violence. We can't save every life. But could we save just one? Could we stop just one? Just one. Is that too much to ask? And like I said, I want to reiterate my main point here. My main point to securing our schools right now, My main point to that is hiring our jobless veterans to guard our schools, to protect the youth of America. Takes care of two. It's a two bird one stone solution. You have vets that are jobless, can't get hired for whatever reason, and you have kids that need their expertise to protect them. Obviously, a school resource officer can't get it done because they're outside hiding. I don't think if we had armed veterans, I don't think they would be running away from the gunfire. They would be running in to save those children. I firmly believe that. Because the men and women of our military are some of the best in the world. Well, not some of. They are the best in the world at what they do. There is no one better. There's no one better equipped to do this than our veterans. And I guarantee you there are a lot of them that would be willing to show up with their own firearm if they had to. The problem is many school districts don't have an option for this. Many school districts don't have it set up. They don't have a plan for how to deal with people wanting to guard schools. Some states don't allow it. Some districts don't allow it. I remember after one of the last big high school shootings before this one, a father was wanted to stand guard outside his kid's school, armed with a legally obtained, registered, assault rifle. He was former military. School told him he had to go away because it was that it was a gun-free zone. And the one thing that I will agree with Donald Trump on is our schools are soft targets, and this must stop. If we're not going to have guns protecting our students, we either got to involve some of the safety measures that one school has done, or the other option is we have to put somebody with a gun on that campus. Because as Donald Trump said, and I have to agree with him, and I may not agree with how he wants to do it, because he wants to arm teachers, and I don't think teachers need to be having to deal with that. But I do agree that we need to make it known to shooters. Our schools are not free targets. That if you come and attack a school, you're going to be shot. Period. End of story. If you come to harm children, you will die, is what we need to tell them. Now, I understand the other argument there as well. These people aren't thinking logically to begin with. I guarantee you, though, they may not be thinking logically, but they care about their own lives for the most part. If not, they wouldn't run off and hide after a shooting. I know sometimes they get shot or they shoot themselves. It's because they are chicken shits. Deep down, they are chicken shits. They don't want to go to jail. So they're going to shoot themselves. They're chicken shits. So if you tell them that they're going to get no death count and that they're going to be the only one dead on scene, they're not going to do it so often. So protect our schools. Do it now. Demand action. Call your state legislators. Call your U.S. representatives. Call your senators. Write the president. Demand that we do this, that we protect our students across this country. Many people are not going to agree with my solution here, but this is my temporary solution for right now. We can work on gun laws later, but like one of the parents said at the little sit down with Donald Trump last week, we can worry about the stupid gun laws later. But right now, we must protect our schools. There's no question. We must defend our schools right now while we figure out what's causing it. What's causing the problem? Why are we having so many of these shootings? Maybe it's the guns. Maybe it's morality. Maybe it's mental illness. But what I do know without a doubt is that we have to protect our schools now. Too many brothers and sisters are sitting at home without their brother or sister or their parent. Too many parents are missing their children because of gun violence. And our schools should be a safe place for all our students to go to school and be free to learn and grow as people. They should not have to look over their back constantly. There should not be a need for a video on YouTube showing how textbooks, when in a backpack, could protect you from getting shot in the back. People should not be having to consider making bulletproof backpacks and clothing for children. A kid in kindergarten or first grade should not have to be explained where to run and hide when a gunman opens fire. We should not have to do this. Most other countries in this world don't have to do this. So we have got to protect our schools. If you don't like my theory here, my plan, down in the description below, or down in the comments below, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Hit me up on social media. Twitter and Facebook links are in the description below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what ideas you have for protecting our students. I personally feel that maybe arming veterans to come protect our schools is a great idea. I don't so much think that teachers should be armed. But we've got to do something. We've got to secure our schools. They cannot remain the soft targets that they are. We must stop that. Anyhow, this has been the Big Rant Show. Thanks for joining me. And to all the new subscribers and viewers, thank you for watching. Share the videos everywhere if you can. And like I said, leave some comments down below. Have a great day, and I'll see you down the road.